Okay, this is part 5 of our the Illuminati lectures. And let's talk about the proofs, all right? Because now with the internet, the conspiracy is everywhere. So first off, I'd just like to say this argument is entirely an argumentum ex ficta, which is an argument from fiction. This is a conspiracy theorist tactic when attempting to prove their super conspiracy, because their super conspiracy gets too large that there's no way the actual objective facts would support it. Because the Illuminati is not a real thing and only existed as a historical blip, there is no evidence for any of their actions. So there's entirely just a giant void where there should be proof of their existence. And this means that the conspiracy theorists must resort to reliance of evidence that at best is of dubious scholarship, but at worst is completely fictional. Right? Some of the Illuminati theories trace the organization back to Atlantis. Because sure, why not? Right? It's convenient for them because it never existed and was completely invented by Plato, who in his book The Timaeus writes that Socrates heard the story from a guy who went to Egypt, who heard about it from another guy reporting an ancient story that they told over, to each other over there. So it's like hey, did you hear the story somebody else said back? Well, that's completely silly and utterly harmless. Millions of dollars have been devoted to finding a thing which never existed. Ancient Aliens, the show, have devoted episodes to it. Illuminati conspiracy theorists will drive it back because it gives their vilified organization a greater esteem, since the story of Atlantis, if we take it to be true, would actually predate the pyramids. When a person writes fiction, this is a fun device to make things seem older and more realistic than they really are, but it's also a lazy way to give your story more depth without actually having to write a real backstory. The problem with conspiracy theorizing is that the authors of these theories look for anything which confirms their belief, historical or otherwise. So let's go to the Super Bowl for an example. It'll make sense in a second. Specifically, Super Bowl 51, February 5th, 2017. Right, the halftime show was headlined by Lady Gaga. Oop, that's weird. Okay. Here's what Alex Jones had to say about it. Quote, "They say she's going to stand on top of the stadium, ruling over everyone with drones everywhere, surveilling everyone in a big swarm, to just condition them to say, 'I am the goddess of Satan, ruling over them with the rise of the robots in a ritual of lesser magic.'" Okay, there's a lot in that to unpack here. He said this before the halftime show happened. None of what he says is based on reality. As far as surveillance is concerned, yeah, sure. But, the Super Bowl is one of the most televised events. It has cameras literally everywhere. Tons of security because it's such a big event that it would be, kind of a large target for a terrorist attack. So Gaga being in the halftime show isn't changing that, right? It doesn't matter who the halftime show entertainment's going to be. It's going to be hugely surveilled to begin with. Secondly, what is a goddess of Satan? That doesn't make sense. Satan's not a god. I don't even know how this structure would work. So Lady Gaga would be a goddess over Satan or under? Whatever. Okay. Thirdly, it's a rise of robots. Okay, sure. They're John Connor. Let's calm down here. And then fourthly, a ritual of lesser magic. I don't know what any of that means. So I don't know what level wizard Lady Gaga is, but after 6 best-selling albums, I think she would be above level 18, be able to cast greater magic. That's for you Dungeons & Dragons nerds. But what is Jones referring to when he says ritual of lesser magic? What does that even mean? Nothing, right? It doesn't mean anything. He's making it up because he knows that his audience isn't going to fact-check this kind of claim. They just know that these things exist. Like, they know these things exist. They know that lesser magic and there's greater magic and that there's a goddess of Satan and robots and all that stuff. but they don't have any evidence for it, right? It's just a belief. They've been listening to Alex Jones for years. They've read David Icke's book. They know all of this stuff is true, but they don't have evidence for it, right? They know magic is real. And then they thrust that into the dark rituals of the Illuminati, and boo! It's all bad stuff, right? But this kind of thing is as ludicrous as it is dangerous. The satanic panic of the 80s and 90s was fueled by this belief that there was real magic, and that people who believed these rituals existed, and they believed they existed with no evidence that these rituals ever happened or no real reason to believe how these rituals would have been conducted. In my regular class over at Geneseo, I talk about this in a little more detail. The witch trials of the colonies were fueled by the same thing, and no one ever really stopped to ask, how do we know this stuff is even real? And that's always the question I would ask these people like David Icke or Alex Jones. It wouldn't get into like the evidence for it. Like, how do you know that there's a ritual of lesser magic? Like, what would that, like, what's the greater magic? You know, I would ask those types of questions. So symbolism. Conspiracy theorists love symbolism, right? It's like a treasure hunt where the only cost is your ability to reason. For example, Illuminati conspiracy theorists look for the hidden eye in everything. Okay? Everything that they can, right? And finding it seems to confirm their belief that X is in the Illuminati, or that X is run by the Illuminati, or something like that. As I stated earlier, the Eye of Providence is not a symbol of the Illuminati, right? The Owl of Athena is what was their symbol. But owls are hard to find, right? It's not common to find an owl. But it is kind of common to find an eye, right? Nothing looks like an owl, but an an eye is just a circle with another circle inside it, so it's a little easier to find that. Triangles are easy, too. Eyes are easy. So even with the complex symbolism of the Illuminati conspiracy theories, they've got one that is so ubiquitous they can use it to prove anything. Right? So here's one from one of the Dark Secrets of the Illuminati book or something. It's one of those. Right, and this is a person who is looking hard at the dollar bill, trying to find all the symbols you can. And it's this. I mean, some of this is kind of clever when they get into it, but in general, like this is just it's bonkers. Right? They're trying to say there's a hidden message in the symbol or the old motto of the country, Novus Ordo Seclorum. New Order of the Ages, or something. That means the New Deal. Like, what? Why would we be tying Franklin Roosevelt's policies into this dollar bill? Right? Did you know that Ariana Grande is an Illuminatus? Right? See, there's all the evidence you need right there. She's making a triangle with her hands and looking through it. Or, I don't know why that's weird. Or Beyonce, Jay-Z, Kesha, Shakira, Katy Perry, Rihanna. If you're motivated to find it, there is nothing that is going to stop you from doing so, especially when you want to look into pop music or really, really famous and popular celebrities. A little exercise I have my class do is think of like a famous celebrity, a singer, actor, whoever, it doesn't matter, and then type into like Google image search, is X in the Illuminati? And then just hit enter, and you will find numerous images of people trying to prove it. Right? I mean, it helps that these are probably some of the more attractive people in the world too. I'm sure that doesn't play any factor into it at all. Oops. Right. At a certain point, though, I feel like some of these celebrities understand this conspiracy theory and are just trolling. Like, here's Katy Perry. If the Illuminati exists, I would like to be invited. I see all that shit, and I'm like, come on, let me in. I want to be in the club. She said that to Rolling Stone. You can't see her shirt. She's wearing a triangle with an eye in it. But we can stick on her for a second, because this is how when I want to confine it to the conspiracy theory world, people tend to say to people like me, they say, well, what's the harm? Right? But here's where it bleeds over into the outer world. This is only a lawsuit. Right, so Katy Perry was sued by the Christian rap group Flame for copyright infringement. Flame sued because the chord for Perry's song Dark Horse was similar to their song Joyful Noise. I listened to both, sure. Yeah, they're similar, I guess. I'm not a music person, so I couldn't tell you. The suit alleged, though, that, quoting from the lawsuit, by any measure, the devoutly religious message of Joyful Noise has been irreparably tarnished by its association with the witchcraft, paganism, black magic, and Illuminati imagery evoked by the same music in Dark Horse. Right. So the lawsuit is alleging that Flame is being harmed because people are going to associate their song with the Illuminati because of Katy Perry's song Dark Horse. Okay. The trial court ruled in favor of the plaintiff, Flame. However, an appeals court reversed the ruling, saying that the track at Joyful Noise was not unique enough to be copyrightable. It's a background check. And they cited the ongoing Led Zeppelin case as precedent, although that has since been resolved, and Led Zeppelin won that case. But instead of arguing over technical issues, what Perry's defense team should have done was raise two things. First, that fans of hers and fans of Flames are unlikely to make the confusion between them, right? To disassociate the harm that they're alleging, or the damage is alleging. But they also should have argued, look, first off, the Illuminati isn't real. The video takes place in Egypt, and without the video, Flame isn't drawing that connection, right? The song has been out for about 10 years. The video's been out for about 8 years. But Flame never sues about the song. There's no imagery in the song, right? It's in the video. There's a still from the video, and somebody trying to make the comparison trying to make the claim that the eye makeup is an Illuminati symbol of Grand Mason, which is the highest order of priestess. There is so much wrong with that statement. Grand Mason is a Masonic thing, and Masons don't allow women. And yeah, so that's just a problem there. The hidden symbolism claim is omnipresent in these types of conspiracy theories. It fuels moral panics because it supplies something tangible to the public. It also feels cool because, again, it's like a treasure hunt. The graffiti is not the work of bored kids with spray cans. It's clearly evidence of a satanic cult or the Illuminati, right? And there's a lot of problems with these symbolism claims, aside from the fact that they're untrue, right? One of the problems is that if you're a super secret worldwide or global controlling organization, why would you hire the most famous people in the world to flash your symbol at their audiences of millions of people? Why would you do that? It doesn't make any sense. Why would you hide your imagery in currency? You don't need to hide it. You're in charge of it. But that is going to do it for our Illuminati conspiracy theory primer. So thank you for listening, and have a good day.